This is Michael Spedden, and welcome to Fowl Players Radio, your one-stop shop for all of your pop culture needs. We feature interviews from musicians, actors, comics, dancers, authors, and much, much more, up-and-coming artists and beloved favorites. We've got it all, people on stage, backstage, out front, and behind the scenes. Sit back and relax. Let's have some fun.
Hey, it's Keith Brewer from whatever band you please, the Ravens, Company of Wolves, Barley Juice, and you're listening to Fowl Players Radio.
Hi, this is Randy Jackson from Zebra, and you're listening to Fowl Players Radio.
And welcome to Season 11, Episode 26 of Fowl Players Radio. Today we spoke with Eric Surratt and Allen Nichols from Bombenkinder, heard some of their latest music, talked about some recent and upcoming shows, reminisced about playing The Rage, The Paragon, and the 15-Minute Club, musical influences, and much, much more. The links to all of their merch, their music, everything else can be found on linktr.ee/Bombenkinder, and that is in the show notes. Please support Fowl Players Radio. The audio version of our entire catalog can be found at foulplayersradio.com. Our YouTube channel is youtube.com/@foulplayersradio, which has our last 3 seasons in video plus best ofs. Remember to please subscribe and hit the like button and give us a fair review. Also, remember to support our guests in their endeavors. Please check out their albums, their merch, anything else you can do to support these folks. It goes a long way, and it's definitely appreciated. We will be back with Bombenkinder right after these words. Stick around.
This is Skinzakis, and you're listening to Fowl Players Radio.
Everybody, this is Sammy Sirius, and you're listening to the Fowl Players Radio.
And welcome back to another episode of Fowl Players Radio, season number 11. We've got 11 seasons. Our seasons go to 11, and they're not going to stop at 11. I promise you that, unless you really want me to. But I haven't been getting that kind of feedback lately here. So today we have Bombenkinder from the great city, Baltimore, Maryland. A great band. I've been playing their material on 97underground.com. We've been getting a good response. They're a great band. I've been speaking with some folks that have played with them, a number of folks that have gone to see them, and I got to tell you, they put on a hell of a show. So welcome, guys. We have Allen and Eric from Bombenkinder. Welcome, guys.
Hello.
Good to have you.
Hello.
Yep.
Thanks for having us.
So you were just full of good news. You've got all kinds of things going on, as always. You've got new singles coming out. You've got some remixes. You've got some shows. You've got some, as you were talking about, genre confusion. We can talk about that. And we've also got a lot of other things to talk about, too, to go down memory lane a bit, because I'll just say I played The Rage, too, and yeah. Okay, so plenty of things to talk about there. So I'm going to stop talking over you guys here and give you a chance to get a word in here, because my name's not Nestor Aparicio, and I allow my guests to speak once in a while. So welcome, guys. Good to have you.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
so go ahead.
Yeah, we're happy to be here. I mean, we were talking about this earlier, that we're expanding and delving into new territory with our material.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that the dance remixes reflect what we're doing. I kind of want to reiterate that. So when that stuff is released, I don't want people to go, what are they doing with this? It's just for fun,
Mm-hmm.
So we're putting it out there, and there's other versions of the songs and that we've already previously released. We're not trying to beat a dead horse with these songs, because we've already moved on. I mean, there's so much material that's been written. We've written more material than we remember. I mean, I go through our archive, and it's just song after song after song, and half of us don't even really remember when we wrote it or the parts that we put together. And and I'm saying, did I play bass on that, or did I, what did I do on that? We were talking about that the other day, Eric, that, it's like I dig through this stuff and I'm like, hey guys, what about this? This thing sounds amazing. And we never did anything with it. So there's new stuff that's coming.
We got to sit down, man. We got to piece it together, brother.
Sifting through it and getting through it. But we're getting ready to start demoing the new material, putting it together, and getting more and more stuff out there. And it's we're not delusional. We don't think that everybody's is just holding their breath to figure out what we're going to do next. This is for us.
Sure,
this is us doing this for our own sake. And if people like it, then that's the best part. That's the great part. And we find out later that people are inspired by certain songs, or they love certain songs, and that, as an artist, that means a lot.
Oh yeah.
When somebody picks up on a song and says, I hear what the words are, and I get it, and it speaks to me, that's a wonderful thing, because if it spoke to me, I'm hoping it would speak to you.
Sure.
So
absolutely. But you were talking about listening to something, all this material that you have out and everything. I've also found myself looking at videos and things like that of me playing 20 years ago, and I'm like, oh God, I remember that song now. That's like some songs have completely just gone out of your mind after a while. You're like,
right.
Oh my God, I remember that now. I couldn't play it for you, and I probably couldn't sing it, but damned if I didn't do it,
for sure. Yeah. I mean, we have, like I said, I mean, it's mounds of material. But I think the good thing is that because it's written, it's already done, and we're moving on to new things and writing new things. That's also a good thing, but it's good to go back a little bit and grab some things that you did before, because those moments, and we talked about this earlier about the demoitis type of thing that happens. You write something, it's got that really great feeling, and then you go and recording and it just gets sterilized, and it becomes something completely different. So our goal moving forward is to kind of capture that initial feeling and that vibe and that groove and everything that went down when we first recorded it. So that's what we're working on.
Right. And I see that you do have some shows, both coming up, and you do play out pretty regularly, I guess, right?
We play out once every other month on average. Our next show will be Saturday, August 10th at Mooresburgers. And I've got a couple other things that are coming up, but nothing's confirmed, so I can't really say anything about that.
Sure.
Mooresburgers is a fun place to play. It's close to me, so I go there.
Right. It's great.
Yeah. It's nice little room, man. And I'm glad to have a place close that has local music. Because I mean, not local music. I'm sorry, original music.
Yes.
Most of their stuff is original music, and
it is. It is.
Jenny, the owner, is all about it. So
she really is. She's
on board with it.
She's great, and she's very supportive of the scene and what we're trying to do here. I think, being in our, age group here, a lot of people have, come back. I mean, when we were coming up, there were a number of us, got out of it for whatever reason, whether life, marriage, children,
yeah.
Sure. Children, jobs, trying to get something under your belt. But it seems like, a lot of us have had a lot of these phases of our lives finish. Children are grown and out of the house. And then we're getting the band back together, and or a new band. And not only are people doing that, coming back, but they're writing some of the best material they've ever written.
Yeah.
I think
rock and roll is like herpes. You know, it's the gift. It may not be there, but it's always there. So yeah, you go you go through these phases in your life, but it's you know, once you've done it and you've played out and you've been in a band and you've built these relationships and you've played all over and you go around the world like Eric and you go to different countries and you play, it's, you know, it's something that you can't really get out of your system. I mean, it's always there. It's always and original music. I mean, if you're a person that says I have an idea and want to get it out there and record it, that's not going to go away. That's going to hit you while you're laying in bed sleeping, and when you wake up, what you're doing all day long, it's always there. You know.
Oh, it is. It is. It is. Did now you know you'd mentioned are you're playing. I know that you did the show in Zen West, you know, not long ago. You had the one coming up at Morseburgers. What areas are you doing?
Generally, we do Zen West,
Mm-hmm.
which is Towson area. I guess that's
Yep.
what you would call that.
Yep.
And then we also do the Depot.
Oh,
And
okay, sure.
North Charles Street.
Okay.
Like we're playing there. July 27th, but we would have already played by the time this comes out. So
Sure. I think you're playing that night with Skins, Race the Rat, maybe?
yes,
Or
Race the Rat.
Yeah.
Race
okay,
the
right.
Rat, and oh my goodness, Anxiety Monster.
Oh yeah. I met they were just recently guests on here. I
Okay.
met them at Henny Mac's that night. They played with the Odd Even,
All right.
and there was a few others on the bill that night. It was a good show.
Yeah, I think we played with them the first time we played Morseburgers back in December.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they opened up the show.
Good young band. A good
Yeah.
young band, you know. I tell you, they've got a good manager, and no place to go but up for those guys, you know.
Yeah.
Yep, no place to go but up. And I'm glad to see that these venues are being open and dedicating themselves to really supporting the original music. You know, you're not going to go wrong that way. And I really think it's something that's needed. It gives us, it gives us an outlet, and fulfilling a need, you know, the need that we have to have a place to go and play.
And
you know?
from what I'm hearing, Angels Rock Bar downtown is getting ready to have bands.
Is that right? Where is that
Saturday
downtown?
night. So I heard some talking about maybe a Bombenkinder Electric Circus bill at an Angels Rock Bar maybe happening October, maybe.
Is that right? Where is that?
It's at the Power Plant Live.
Oh, okay.
Where Angels Rock Bar is. I mean, I'm sorry. Ram's Head Live is.
Oh, okay.
Yep. If you come out of Ram's Head, it's Angels Rock Bar is up those steps.
Oh, it is. Okay.
And,
Is it part of Ram's Head?
No, it's not part of
Oh, it's a
Ram's
separate entity.
Head.
Okay.
It's adjacent to the PBR. The rodeo.
Oh, sure. Okay.
There,
Yeah. Okay.
Mechanical bull.
Right.
Yeah, so they're like
Yeah.
kind of connected.
Mm.
And Angels used to do shows, but they were like always on a Thursday, and it was very sporadic. You know, they'd do them for a year, and then they would stop for a couple years, and then they do them for another year. So apparently, that's going on again. So it's
good.
another venue to play.
Yeah, those are fun shows there.
There's maybe I don't know 6. There's probably less than 10 all original venues.
Right.
Like Auto Bar is another. Which, I don't know. It's hard. Metro Gallery, two that we would want to do more shows at. Of course, the Wrecker, but Wrecker's 750 people, so you have to have a pretty big act to get on one of those shows.
I know you do. I remember that place was actually a theater. I used to go there after work when I was 18 years old on Saturday night and go watch Pink Floyd The Wall or Rocky Horror or something. It was a pretty cool theater back then, you know.
Nice. We played there at the beginning of 23.
Oh, okay.
23 we played there, and great room, man.
That was a good show.
Yeah.
It was a good show.
It is a good it's a good room there, definitely. And yeah, the other ones that you'd mentioned too, the Depot, God, that's how long's that place been around?
Depot's, I think they just had their 20th anniversary, or maybe even more than that.
It's got to be more than that. I'm thinking that place was
2025.
around back in my day, like that place has got to have 30. I'm thinking.
Really, it might be there.
Yeah, I think it may be 30.
I remember I was at their
had-
14th anniversary show.
Okay,
that was a long time ago.
Okay.
Yeah,
That place is fun to play because you're on the floor. It's just rock and roll. It's just a little box, and you get in there and you rock out and have a good time. And
there's zero freaking expectations there, man. You're just going to have fun.
Right.
The pressure is off.
Freaking impress anybody,
But
Yeah.
you know what? I think that's what lends itself to really great shows, is that you as a performer are let off the hook in some ways, so you wind up having these really great shows there, and it's and you're just having a good time and rocking out, and people are enjoying it. It's a good little place to play. I like it.
Yeah,
the pressure's definitely off. Yeah. That's great that's still around, and that I kind of like that too. The pressure's off a little bit. You can just go in there. And those end up being the best shows a lot of times.
Yeah,
too.
no ticket sales. Last time we played there, we did it with no cover charge. This time we're doing it. I think it's a $5 cover charge, which who cares?
Right. It's at least you got to have something in your pocket for doing that. At the end of the night. So now, you've got some material coming out now. We played some of it on 97 Underground. We've been giving it spins there. Now, how far back does Bombenkinder go?
Oh, it's
2005, I believe, is what it says on the website.
Yeah.
So now
you're along in 2009.
Okay.
So it started out as a 3-piece.
Okay.
And what we did originally was we would switch around. I'd play bass on some stuff and sing, and the bass player would come, and we would have a drum machine. And actually, the very first show we did, it was out in, I think it was Gaithersburg, Maryland. Wasn't it out there, Eric? Because Eric. Yes. So we played this show, and it was just 3 of us up there, and we there was a few people there, and some people we haven't seen in a long time. And Eric showed up, and I think he said after the show, he's like, I want to be in the band. So I was like, well, I want you to be in the band. So then we got Eric in the band, and it just started. It progressed from there, and it was a great move.
Great,
for sure.
Great. So, I know we were talking about years ago. Going back even before that, you two were in a band together called Bitch Boy.
Yes.
Going back now, how far back was that? Because you had mentioned the Rage, and I'm sure we played with you.
That was 91.
90. Okay.
We definitely played shows together.
Yeah.
I think my first show with Bitch Boy was I think it was July 4th, 91.
Okay.
We went to I met these guys, and 2 weeks later I jumped in a van with them and went to Melbourne, Florida.
Okay.
To play a show with them.
Was that our first show in Melbourne?
Yeah.
With you? Or yeah, so
with me, I guess I was the first drummer for Bitch Boy.
Yeah, I mean we had I think we had different drummers that just flaked out and couldn't, like, I don't know if they liked our lifestyle at the time, and I think we scared a lot of people off. We were a little rough around the edges. It didn't seem to bother you that much. You kind of fit right in. Yeah, 2 weeks later, we went down to Florida, and then we wound up going to London, and playing there. That wasn't that much longer after that, was it?
No, that was like March, I think, of 90. That would have been 92.
Yeah. So I mean, we've known each other for a really long time. It's now I'm starting to think about the dates. Wow.
Yep.
But
Well,
yeah, we've been around.
Yeah, we went a long time without ever seeing each other. And
yeah.
well, we went years without seeing each other, and then I ran into him at this little convenience store in Northwest DC. And we were actually neighbors. We lived a block away from each other.
Is that right?
Come to find out, yeah. And then another freaking, 10 years go by, and I run into him again. So, yeah, Alan's one of my best friends, man, and Alan has shown me the way on some things, and I appreciate Alan's friendship. I love writing songs with him. He's one of my favorite vocalists. I just think I love being in this band, man, and we are very very friendly guys. We actually really, really like each other, man, and I think it shows with the songs that we play and the emotion that goes in with it. That
Yeah, I think that
no faking it.
I think that translates into our live performances too, because we're not just playing, we're not just getting up there and playing the songs. We're actually putting on a show for people, and it's because we're up there with our friends, and it's something that's really I think important, because if this band situation was stressful in any way, more than what it needs to be. I mean, there's always, when you're in a band, there's stress of getting the material ready and all that stuff, but if you can't be around people that you love and consider family, then I don't really see a point in it. I mean, it's not, it's not worth my aggravation. I just do it by myself. But having Eric around is it's a blessing in my life. I mean, because he's very close to the vest type person, but he's a sweetheart. Yeah, he's my boy. He's my boy. You're my boy, Blue.
I love you, man. I do love you.
Yeah, it's good to be able to have good relationships in your band, because when you don't, it's awful. And believe me, I know very, very well. So to go back a little bit here, we had mentioned the Rage. Did you have any memories of the Rage you'd wanted to share? Because that seemed to be one of the places that really supported the local bands, and you get 5 a night in there sometimes, or 4 a night.
Yeah. I remember. I remember being unemployed at that time. So I was just pretty much, loving that rock and roll life. And I think the deal with the Rage was that if you played on a Friday or Saturday, you had to do a Tuesday. So you're playing that twice a month, or like a Monday or something.
Right.
So a lot of good times. A lot of wild parties down in the basement.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Lasted until
a lot of debauchery.
God, yeah. You want? I stayed after quite a bit too, and I didn't sit back and watch the show, man. There were quite a few shows, going on afterwards there. I mean, being around the corner from the block, I mean, that was kind of coming with the territory.
Passing of the hat, the party supply hat. Okay,
sure. Yeah, I mean, that was boy, I tell you, the sights.
Yeah, those were fun days. But there's a part of me that's I'm really glad that's over.
Yes.
I'm glad that I'm past that point. I mean, I'd probably do it all over again in my youth, but I couldn't handle it at this age anymore.
Oh yeah, I hear what I definitely know what you mean with that.
And so many good bands, bands there too, man. I remember Rogue Squire and and RNC Parade. Man, it was great, very good times, man.
It was
Jimmy and Cat, always a blast, man.
Right, right. And wasn't there
We had Adam Curry. Remember the Adam Curry guy that would Carl
yes,
at the
yes.
door?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. All right,
He
now
ended up
you're
being
saying Adam Curry. Right, right, right.
Yeah, he ended up owning the Thunderdome. Him and Bob Schmuff ran
Yes.
the Thunderdome, if you remember that.
And then I think he was running Dick's Halfway In, maybe in Rosedale. Yeah.
When they left Thunderdome, they went to Dick's Halfway In.
And
then Surf City, I guess Bob took over Surf City, and then Bob ended up passing. So
yeah,
I don't know what happened to Carl, but hopefully he's still out there.
And wasn't there a waitress? Jimmy had the top bar, and then wasn't there a waitress named Floyd?
Floyd?
She went by Floyd, I thought. She had, like, of course, big hair. For some reason, I remember a girl who called herself Floyd.
No, I don't remember her.
Yeah, yeah. She was at the lower bar. They weren't always running the lower bar neither, you know. And then there's little Ricky, the bar back, you know, and he was a riot. You know, he was, and then John Jazz doing sound, and Dave downstairs, the downstairs attendant. And he played, God, what band was he in? He was a singer too. He was in a band with a guy named Junior from Highlandtown. Anyway, now did you ever do any place that like Maxwell's or any of the other ones around?
No Maxwell's.
Yep. Now you had mentioned
Rage was pretty much our main go-to in Baltimore.
Okay.
In my pitch boy years. That was
we played what, College Park, and
we did the Paragon.
Oh yeah.
Got in a lot of trouble there too.
You know,
the thing, you know, the thing I like about Eric is his memory is so, he's got a steel trap, right? Because during those days, I don't remember anything. It's like I had the Men in Black thing. You know, like that. My memory has been my memory has been wiped because I was enjoying myself too much. And but you know, so he'll introduce me to people and say, "Hey, you remember so and so, and you remember this?" And it's like I just bits and pieces of everything. It's a little frustrating, actually.
Yeah, we've talked about the Paragon quite a bit on this show because I've had a lot of people that played there. And if you look back at our episodes, I mean, it's been pretty much a Rage reunion these last couple of months because I've had Tainted Saints, Psycho Boy, let me see, Tainted Saints, Psycho Boy, Taz. They're re-releasing their old stuff. And they're, you know, the guys that were in that band are doing new stuff now, but they re-released the 88 and 89 album that they had out. Psycho Boys re-releasing their stuff from back in those days. Of course, Tainted Saints. I mean, it's been great to see, you know, to really have the opportunity to talk and reminisce about these places.
It has been nice.
Yep. But another one that did come up quite a bit's been the Paragon, and you know, the Stairs from Hell.
Yeah.
Especially lugging an Ampeg rig up them steps, you know, brutal.
Yeah, I got carried down those stairs.
Really?
And the load out would suck if it was at the end of the night when the bar downstairs was closing.
Yeah.
Trying to get down those steps and out that front door, they had that like brick wall that was against the road, against Route 1.
Yeah.
Trying to get your stuff out at the end of the night, man, was always just freaking horrible.
Oh yeah. I think that was their way of making sure the bands didn't drive drunk, because you couldn't be messed up after loading your stuff down those stairs and over that wall and into your wherever you were going, you know.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a story quickly. We actually got booked at the Rage and the Paragon in the same night. And it snowed too, and so we played with Peking Opera, at the Paragon. We opened for them, got out of there, threw everything in the van, hauled butt up 295 was the way I knew to go, you know. And of course it's snowing and we're trying to get up there in time. And my van is fishtailing and going sideways the whole way in the snow. Finally, they were like, they're not coming. They're not coming. Orange Seed Parade's not coming. And then finally, we get there. The back door flies open, you know, the back door where all the rats were. And we get in there. We just threw our stuff up on stage, barely did a sound check, just plugged in and played. And we got them both done that night, but never again.
Yeah, double booking.
I know, brutal.
Hey, well, at least you were warmed up for the second show.
Yes, well, we were cold though too, because it was freezing that night and very cold and icy and everything. But did you guys now you're talking about DC a bit now? Where were you playing besides Paragon? You know, were there other ones?
We used to play. We never played Manny's.
Okay, right.
There was another place in like Gaithersburg or up that way that we would play, and I forget what the name of that place was.
Club 118, maybe.
Yeah.
We played there too.
Yeah. Those were and Tiki Fala. Remember
Dumfries, Virginia. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Never did that one. We weren't right for that one.
That's a ways away.
Yeah.
So the band that I was in before from Florida, we played Tiki Fala, and our manager was like, okay, we have to book you in this hotel that's outside of town, because I guess the bands that have been booked in the hotels before that, you know, they had to move further and further out of town because they wouldn't allow bands to stay in these hotels. And so our manager got us this room, and we I think we had 5 nights there or something, and we wound up making that perimeter move out further on our last night there. We were removed from the hotel, and I guess they had to expand their perimeter after that.
Oh man.
If I would have met me now, if I would have met me back then, now I would beat the crap out of me.
Me too.
I would not be able to tolerate being around me.
Yep. Yeah. I even said something like that. About a year ago, I spent the 4th of July with Fritz and Sean, my bandmates from Orange Seed Parade, and Fritz got out a cassette of us on 97 Underground being interviewed by Krista Kyle, and she played some of our stuff. And so I did an episode of this. Just, I played the recording of our interview on that show after I spoke, but I talked about it. And I mean, the one thing I was thinking, like back in those days, I think a lot of bands would have done a lot better if we weren't so freaking dumb and stupid. We acted right. We weren't making stupid decisions at the drop of a hat, thinking about things before we did it, just being a little better to each other.
I think you nailed it. Yeah.
A lot of it has to do, and you guys are probably like me. If somebody was 24 years old, they were ancient, and there was no way they were ever going to make it in this business.
Right.
I mean,
Here we are 30 years later.
I know exactly.
We're still trying.
Right. Trying to get something happening. All the investment we put into equipment, lessons, shows, paying our dues, time to have something coming back our way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plan.
Yep. Yep.
I think we'd all be millionaires right now if we would have taken that money that we've spent and invested in what we're doing. We probably would all be financially in a different place.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
not speaking for you guys. You guys might be millionaires. I don't know.
No.
And now we live in a world where nobody pays for music.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Yeah.
Kind of weird.
Right. I mean, back in those days, we would give out because I mean, part of the fun of being in a band back then, without having social media and everything, was flyering. I mean, you could buy ads like in Rocks or Maryland Musician or
Yeah.
whatever. But you went out, you met people face to face, you hand them a flyer, you speak with them for a while, you enjoy a beer together. Maybe some people were even giving out cassettes, like a 1-song cassette.
Yeah.
So you could hear, what it was, you can let them know what you were about and everything. And I think that really created the magic of that time, because that was really a great time.
It was a great time.
I'm trying to figure out where we got the money to do all that stuff.
Out of our ashtrays and our cars.
Yeah, because somehow we were coming up with the money to make these cassettes and flyers and all being creative with however we were going to get our get the name out, and buying ads in Rocks magazines.
Oh, scraping everything together at our $4.50 an hour jobs, and
exactly.
I would, and I was also going to school too. I was going to school and playing, and I would, I would go and make a ridiculous flyer. I would go get a Weekly World News and cut stupid pictures out of it and make a flyer. And then what I would do is I would take a roll of Scotch tape. I'd tape the things together and make a collage. I'd go to the school library with a handful of nickels and dimes and just make copies, as much as I could. Sometimes if I was at work and everybody left, I'd sneak over to the copier and run off a bunch of them. They have ways of tracing that now, so you can't do it anymore. But but hey, boy, did I abuse that.
I remember going to Radio Shack and buying like the 3 packs of the really cheap cassettes that they used to sell.
Yes.
And take those home and put it on my double tape deck boom box and make our tapes. And then Allen would make the little tape inserts, and we just put the tape inserts and write "Bitch Boy" on the sticker that was on the cheesy thing, and just give them out or sell them, whatever.
Right. And Red Dye number 9, they're back. They were playing back in those days. They're back doing shows, around here, re-releasing new material. And what they told me they did is they found somebody at a church had hundreds of cassettes that their pastor read his sermons on. Okay. And never did anything with them. They were just there, and they gave them to him. They said, "Here, do you want these?" So they had all these cassettes, and what they did is they bought this machine. It was like you could run off like 9 cassettes at a time off of a master. But what they did is they all lived together in an apartment or a house or something. What they would do is, before you leave the house, put in 9 tapes and copy them, hit record and play, you could leave. So they did that for their first demos. They had their songs over top of this tape that had, this pastor's sermons on there. But the problem was with side 2 wasn't quite long enough, and there was some tape left over. So you heard their last song, and then you would hear these sermons.
Right.
But hey, I mean, we used to do that. We would take, we would make copies of our logo, and we would go somewhere where they had those like refrigerator magnet calendars, and we would glue our logos onto those and cut them out and give people refrigerator magnets. I mean,
the ingenuity. I think when you go back, that's what I find really cool is like going back and seeing like old flyers and old things that you put together and the amount of effort that you put behind putting this stuff together.
Yeah.
And it wasn't mass produced. It was, it was just tossed together. It's just like the little album I showed you, the vinyl album. That's not a that particular record isn't something that you could sell on the mass market, but it's something that you can hold in your hand. And when you look at when we did our album, we kept all of that in mind. Like going back to the days when you picked up a vinyl record and you studied the front cover, you looked at the back cover, you looked at the inner sleeve, you looked at all the stuff, and we wanted to load it because we were trying to get back to that time where there was thought put behind what you were doing, and and it was creative. And so you buy one of our records, if you buy one of our studio records, that thing has a ton of stuff in it. And and you can sit and look at the record, you can look at the cover, and there's thought put behind all that stuff. And I, when we were talking to Tracks on Wax, when we dropped some of those off there, they said that nobody's doing records like that anymore. Nobody's putting that much effort behind, it's just a front cover, back cover, and the record in the sleeve. So we wanted to, like, I feel like if we're going to do this, if we're going to continue to do this, we need to implement more of that stuff into it. So that creativity, that's visual part of it, that identifies with where you came from, and the logic behind it, and what we're doing, the thought, like even placement of songs on the records,
Right.
Because like you said, like Eric said, nobody's paying for music anymore. It's just a song. It's just a single song on Spotify or wherever you're listening to music. And a record is a thought out process. Order,
it is.
all of that.
It is. I always buy mine. Everything that I play. I mean, sometimes bands like you guys send me stuff and everything too, but I usually buy the rest of it when I find it. Or at least buy another album or something that the people have out to support. Because again, and the thing, even when you buy off online, you download it digitally, a big hunk of that is going to Apple or whoever is putting it out there. I mean, it's not all going to you, but I try to support as much as I can. I'm all about supporting our local artists, plugging, giving plugs and promotions, getting the word around, anything I can do, because being a small businessman myself with my murder mystery company, and the thing is, it's good to, you can make these things, make great gifts, theater tickets, theater tickets, albums, t-shirts, hey, check these guys out. People say all the time, and a lot of the people that do this are the people that listen to radio stations that play Creedence Clearwater Revival and Bachman Turner Overdrive 5 times a day. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but there's no good music out there. No good new. Yes, there is.
Yeah, there's plenty of good music. You just got to know where to find it.
Yeah, you got to be willing, and you got to turn off the damn radio station playing that all day. You get set in your routine. Go. I mean, God, my show, not to toot my own horn, but I have 2 hours, and most of my shows consist of an interview, which is a half hour of it, giving me an hour and a half left. And usually the remainder of that time is about 50% local. 50% local bands, or not necessarily local, but they're up and coming. A band Lilac from Savannah, Georgia, I play. A band, Inner Siege from Illinois. Another one, Medea and Pompeii from Northern Virginia. Andy Henson from Virginia, or Southern Virginia, actually. They're from down near Lynchburg, and Escape the High from Arizona, up and coming. I mean, I do kind of give a little more, spins, and after a while I kind of retire some songs and put other ones on, but I try to promote as much as I can, these up and coming acts.
Yeah. I mean, we appreciate that, man. We appreciate you having us on here and helping us spread the word. And Bombenkinder. So these bands that you're playing, are they sending you stuff, or how are you really discovering these guys?
I'm meeting them like I met you, like I ran into you. we talk, we chat a bit. I give them a card, they send it or they don't, you know. A couple of them are some bands that I knew in the past from doing this show. We just happen to find each other. I don't always remember exactly what the circumstances are. A couple of them are bands, and they sent their friends to me. You know, like they knew another band. They're like, you know, call him. You know, a couple of them are publicists, because I've had, you know, nationals on too. You know, I've had a few people where I reached a manager of a national artist, and then they have other people that they're a publicist for, or in their, you know, they work with somehow, and they send them my way too. So I find them all kinds of different ways, but yeah, like I said, I give them a listen. Now, you know, if their material isn't polished, I'll say, look, you know, I can see what you're trying to do, but you got to polish it before I play it, you know.
Right.
But yeah,
That's great.
yeah, I'm happy to do that, you know, because hey, you know, somebody's got to let some people's foot in the door, you know. Why not me?
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
Right.
people, you know, I remember all the people well. Like 97 Underground was very kind to us. We weren't a hair band, but they were great to us, you know.
Right.
You know, so did you guys ever do places like 15-minute club or 930 or any of those?
I did 15-minute club with my band after Bitch Boy Polly Plush Cats.
Okay.
That was a very, very interesting place, man. That's one of the most interesting clubs I've ever played, because it was a cafeteria and an office building during the day.
Yes.
Rock club at night. And they had at least 3 rooms, right?
Yeah. Now tell me your experience. Yeah,
they were small. Well, it was more than 3 rooms, but they had 3 rooms that bands played in, and each room was about the size of your average home's living room. So there wasn't really a whole lot going on in there.
Yeah.
And I just remember the lunch line, I guess you would call it. It was just really, really weird, man. It was in a legit office building downtown.
Yeah,
Back in the middle.
I think I lived pretty close to there when I lived in DC, and I did a few shows in there too, and it was weird.
Yep. You know, I'll tell you my story there. Okay. We played there with Orange Seed. I'd say probably 90. And I left my tuner out in my truck. So I went out to get it, and I walk out front. This was at 15th and K Northwest. It was starting to get dark, or it was dark. And I walk, every 10 feet was a hooker. All right. Every 10 feet was a hooker dressed in the fishnets and the, you know, typical television hooker outfits.
Stereotype.
Pimps. Looked like a 70s movie out there. Looked like Huggy Bear, you know. The hats, the feathers sticking out of it, the big furry lapels on their, you know, trench coats. And I thought I walked onto a film set, you know, and I was like, wow. And I was looking around, and so I just went and got my stuff and went back in. But then when we played, there was no light show. They had a projector, and they showed the Fantastic Planet on the wall behind us, that sci-fi cartoon movie from the 70s. That was our light show, and I thought that was the coolest thing ever.
At least you had something.
Yeah.
I remember the steady, just colored lights. Like they'd have a lamp with a freaking green or blue light bulb in it, and that was the. It was room lighting, was their stage lighting.
Yeah.
That area. That area is not. I lived on 13th and Mass, and I lived in a building called the Belvedere, and that was the circuit for the prostitutes would go around and around that building all night long. And it got to the point where they called out the National Guard. Well, because it was a violent neighborhood too.
Oh yeah.
So they would call out the National Guard. They would put these big diesel powered floodlights out there, and they
Mhm.
would run it all night long, and then there would be an armed National Guardsman standing underneath those lights, and that you can imagine the amount of light coming off of that blasting through your window in your apartment all
Mhm.
night long, listening to that, and hearing the police going, "I see you behind the car. It's time to go home, ladies." And it's every single night. um and it was a show out there
Oh
every
yeah.
night.
Oh, for sure.
Every night, you didn't know what was going to happen.
Oh, I know. I can only imagine, you know. I mean, geez whiz. But I was just like floored when I walked out and saw all that, you know.
Yeah.
And apparently, you know what somebody told me too was that um they were playing there and their girlfriend came down to meet them to see the show. And she couldn't find a parking spot. So she drove around that block a bunch of times looking for a spot. And a cop pulled her over because they thought that she was trying to pick up a hooker.
Oh
You know,
boy.
was
Yeah.
oh man.
Yeah, the things I've seen out there around that building and around that area it's unbelievable. I mean,
Oh
just
yeah.
stuff if I told you, you wouldn't even believe it.
Oh, I'd probably believe
It
you
was
since.
it was out of control. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
it was out of control. There was really, I mean, the police would circle around,
Hmm.
shoo everybody off. And then 5 minutes later they would be back. It was just like a game that
Well,
would go on all night long.
at that time too, DC was what the murder capital of the country.
Yep, sure was.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it was bad down there. You know, it really was bad. It was DC was stood for Death City, you know, or something. That's what they used to
Yeah.
say. You know,
Yeah.
yep. Well, guys, well, look, I really appreciate your time, you know, coming on the show tonight. What I'd like to do right now is give you your shameless plug opportunity. You can shamelessly plug anything you'd like to shamelessly plug, and all shamelessness is encouraged, and no shamelessness be spared. So have at it.
Go for it, Eric.
All right. www.bombenkinder.com. Also, it's linktr.ee/Bombenkinder. Take you to our Facebook, our Instagram, our TikTok, and Bandcamp to buy merch, all that stuff. Come see us in Catonsville, Maryland at Moore's Burgers Tavern, Saturday, August 10th. And we're going to be with Warhawk, Duval, and Top Rope. So that's Bombenkinder, Moore's Burgers Tavern, Saturday, August 10th. Be
Wonderful.
there or be square, Daddy-O.
That's right, Daddy-O. Be there, be square, be a right. Well, excellent. Well, guys, folks, like I said, you know, give my show, The Back of the Rack, a listen. I'll be spinning Bombenkinder for sure for a while here. Definitely some great material. Get out there and buy their stuff. They've got merch, they've got music, they've got all kinds of things. They got something for everybody, fun for the entire family, right?
Yes. Give it a listen.
Yeah.
Give it a listen. Give it a listen and come out and support Bombenkinder. So, guys, you know, Eric and Alan, thank you so much for joining us today. And folks, we will see you all next time on Fowl Players Radio. Thanks for listening, folks. And folks, thanks for tuning in today and listening to our interview with Bombenkinder. It was great to catch up with those guys. They're a great band, and definitely go to their linktree/Bombenkinder, and check out their merch, their shows, their music, their social medias, anything else that you can do. They're a great band, and definitely worth checking out sometime. We had a great time reminiscing with them tonight and hearing about their new music and everything. You know, again, please check them out, Bombenkinder on Linktree. Also, just remember to support Fowl Players Radio. You know, we're working very hard to support our local artists, our national artists, just to get the word out about some really cool stuff. Also, youtube.com/@FowlPlayersRadio. Our last 3 seasons plus best ofs are there, the video versions, and www.fowlplayersradio.com has all, I think, close to 330 episodes in the audio version, on that website. So definitely check that out as well. Hey, it's vacation time. You need something to listen to in the car? Bingo. Here we are. Check us out. Thanks you all for listening, folks. We appreciate it. And we will see you all next time. Michael Spedden signing